Hello and welcome to the third Playdate firefighting game devlog. Unlike the previous two devlog videos, this video will cover 2 weeks worth of development. The game has had a massive overhaul and looks quite different in this time. We tackle problems such as refactoring most of the code, creating new classes, creating state machines, brainstorming upgrades, and creating menus. To start, I began refactoring my code so that I could have different screens or scenes, such as the title screen, a shop, and a job screen, and of course the main game where you put the fires out. To do this, I made my current main file into a new file called core game and replaced it with a new main file. This is so that it could be called and run whenever I wanted. I then created other files, being the title screen, the shop, job, and the start day screen, where you can pick whether to go to the shop or to start a new job. By having these scenes be separate classes, it means I can use a state machine in the main file to switch between them and not have code run when it doesn't need to. I created a states array as it meant I could initialize the classes and switch between them as and when I wanted to. I had the main game state be nil, as I would initialize a new instance of a class each time a job started, as it meant I would be able to use the one class with different variables, such as having more windows in different types of jobs. One issue that I ran into with the gameplay is that variables from previous jobs would be the same in the new one. So to fix this, the win function, which changes the current state, I simply reset the variables to their original value ready for the new job. Here is a quick overview of the different classes and what they look like in game. The title screen is basically empty and only shows the text title screen, as I haven't thought of a name yet. It also contains the ability to press A to start the game. The shop is a simple menu where the upgrades are objects which are stored in an array, as this allows them to be easily accessible and hold data about themselves, such as their name, their cost, the amount of times they've been purchased, and the amount of times they can be purchased. When you purchase an upgrade, it runs a quick function, which is in the main script, which is essentially a switch statement that increments the variable relating to the upgrade itself. The job scene is basically the same as the shop, where it holds an array which contains job objects, which contain data such as their name, the building size, and how many reputation points you receive on completion, which these can then be spent in the shop. When you select a job, instead of applying an upgrade, it simply changes the state and passes along the selected job object, which is then used to create the game scene. In the job class, the menu works by creating a Playdate UI grid view object, passing in the variables for the cell width and height. I then set a 9 scale image to be the background of the menu. Mine is currently the scroll background that is given in the example files of the SDK. Following this, I set the number of rows to be the number of jobs in the job array, set the cell padding, which is the amount of blank space around the cell, followed by setting the content inset, which is how far inside the cell the content is displayed. Next, we override the drawSelf method so that it displays how we want it to. Here, I do this by writing list_view drawCell with the function variables of section, row, column, selected, x, y, width, and height. Inside the function, I check if the current cell is selected. If it is, then we color fill the cell with the fill round rect function to fill it with rounded corners, so it looks nice. Then we set the image draw mode to the Playdate constant kDrawMode fill white, which sets the text to white as characters are technically images in the Playdate SDK. If it is not the selected cell, then the image draw mode is set to Playdate constant kDrawMode copy, which is the default drawing mode, so the text will return to the standard black text. I then define the current job in the list that we are drawing. This is so that when drawing the text, I can write the name of the job and the amount of reputation earned from completing it. Then we define the text's X and Y position. The width and height, I use 20 as otherwise the text would be too small to appear, followed by whether you want a leading adjustment or any truncation, both of which I don't want, so these are set to nil. And finally, set the text alignment to center so that it centers in the cell nicely. Finally, when I press the A button, it gets the selected row, picks the job from that position in the array, and sets the selected job and changes state to the game scene. In the update function, we call the drawInRect function, which enables drawing the menu, followed by Playdate timer update timers, which is needed as the grid view class uses Playdate.timer internally. Speaking of pressing buttons, I wanted the buttons to act different across the different scenes. To do this, I used an input handler, where the correct handler is pushed to the Playdate input handler stack when starting the scene, and pops it off the stack when leaving the scene. This allows each different scene to have different controls from each other and can execute different code when the buttons are pressed. After all of these changes, and a few less important changes not mentioned, here's what the final game looks like. The upgrades include bigger nozzle. This increases the area covered by water from the hose, allowing you to extinguish multiple windows at a time. Faster filling. Water increases by plus 12 per full rotation of the crank, for a total of plus 18 per full rotation of the crank. Bigger water tank, which increases by 25 each time purchased. Faster aiming. Aim speed increases by 50 each time purchased. The speed starts at 100. More effective water. The amount that water decreases by per frame is decreased by 0.5. This may change, however. Thank you for watching this devlog. I hope that you're enjoying the series and are excited as I am to see the game with some better art in the next video. If you have any suggestions for more upgrades, please leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next devlog. Cheerio.